slots over the last decade. But our interest is not just in the allocation of our slot, but our interest also has to focuses on persons who are allocated those house slots, constructing and preparing and living and enjoying their homes. And that, to get to that point, a lot more work is required, a lot more collaboration is required. And to a large extent, the private sector is the entity, the group of our society that must join to take it beyond just house lot to the experience of a home. And I think this International Building Expo provides an opportunity, just a view of what that collaboration and that cooperation between government and private sector can achieve for our people. The success has already, in terms of those who have come on board to ensure that this, not just this launch, but the exposition itself is a success, already has seen on board significant contribution from members of the private sector. In particular, we have had already companies like Courts and the Republic Bank, Citizen Bank, the Guyana Telephone and Telegraph Company, Global Hardware, Trinidad Cement Company, Buddies, Guyana Bank of Trade and Industry, and the BK International to date, who have confirmed their interest in being corporate sponsors of this very important activity. And the one leading both the ministry and ensuring the collaboration and bringing on board other members of the private sector over the last 2 to 3 weeks as we put together this wonderful exposition, has been the Honorable Minister Irfan Ali. Since joining the sector, since joining the ministry, there has been indeed a renewed dynamism and a renewed energy. It is felt among the staff, it is felt by those who are coming to the ministry to benefit from our service, and many of you in the private sector can attest to that energy and that interest and that opportunity given to collaborate in improving the lives of our people. So it gives me great pleasure this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce Honorable Minister Irfan Ali.
Thank you very much, P.S. McGarrell, distinguished members of the head table. I promise you I will not be as long as the combined speeches of the chair. I was telling Mr. Ramesh Duku from the private sector that I did not prepare a speech and I'm not known to prepare a speech. And he said to me, I can borrow his speech. But this shows the dynamic change in the way we view things, that we can now share speech, the government and the private sector. I think this is the way to go. And I look forward to sharing many more speeches and moments with you, Mr. Duku. This is a very historic launch. It is a media launch, but we thought it best that we invite some key stakeholders in the industry. And I will not speak about the Building Expo, I'm speaking about the industry, the construction industry, because this industry has been consistently contributing greater and greater to GDP in the country. Yet, we did not harness the potential power and transformatory effect this industry can bring to the country. In Trinidad and Tobago, for example, the construction industry has basically reoriented the economy of Trinidad and Tobago. That today, they are boasting that they have the convention capital of the Caribbean. They are the business center of the Caribbean. But this is premised on the fact that a lot of investment went into infrastructural development and in the construction sector itself. And it is not just investment made, it's the linkages of the investment. And that is what we want to be created at the end of this building expo. Maybe the term building confines the expo, but the expo goes beyond the thinking of building and construction. That is why the financial sector has to be a critical part of this expo. As was said before, this is an expo that seeks to create investment opportunities. It seeks to establish business relations and linkages. That is why we tried as far as possible to bring not only products from the wider Caribbean and further afield, but to ensure that we have strong representation from the manufacturing sector, the private sector, and the business entities themselves from across the region here at the Expo. So we want our local suppliers and developers to be ready. That is why this media launch is important. We have to create a strong and lasting impression. An impression that we are at the level ready to play at that level that requires good quality and efficiency. And as was previously said, we have a transformation that is going to take place in Guyana. Not only at the government level. In the next 2 years, we have to develop 17,000 new house lots. That is at the government level alone. We have seen that in a given year, we get 55% occupancy rate. So if we develop 17,000 house lots in 2 years, and you have approximately 60% occupancy, you will see the new entrance. 60% of the 17,000, that is going to be the new entrance just in the housing market. Then we have at the Ministry of Housing, you know, we have the Central Housing and Planning Authority. We have record amounts of persons seeking approval for private housing development. Record amounts. This year we've received more than 6 proposals for private development, including infrastructure and home construction. We have received proposals for malls, for banquet centers. So the entire industry is transforming itself. And I think it's time for us to cash in. It's time for the local businesses to cash in on this. We have to ensure that our products, we show that our product is serious enough to compete at this level. Let me give you an example. I was surprised to know that we can produce in Guyana a hardwood door. And you know the pitch pine door that you can kick it and your foot will go through? That door is sold for approximately $11,000 on the market here. It's an imported door. We can produce a hardwood door in Guyana that if you kick it, it will break your toe. A hardwood door in Guyana for about the same price. But how much of us knows this? And how much of this is marketed in the markets that has opportunities? Look at Trinidad and Tobago, for example. Whilst companies are spending a lot of money, and TCL will tell you, in analyzing our market here locally, the demands in our, and I know, because companies approach the ministry all the time for information on what are the new and emerging trends. We do not play the same hard game regionally. How many of our companies analyze the regional market? In Trinidad and Tobago, for example, the policy of the government now is an expansive housing drive. We have a lot of products here that we can push in that direction, and we're doing some of it. But this is an opportunity for us to establish the foundation to do a lot of it, and not just some of it. Then there is the whole issue of education. How are we disseminating information? How are we disseminating information on our new innovations, our products, our services here in Guyana. It is done in a very fragmented manner. And this is not about competing. That is why I'm very happy that the banks and you have private developers who compete against each other. You have BK and Courtney Ben who can all sit around a table now and say, we need to have a structure on how this sector, how construction sector is going to emerge in the next 10 years. And in that conversation, we need the banks. We need to sit down together and say, we need to develop a financial strategy where all of us will play a part in this exciting future. And we have seen it. It has commenced. For example, Citizen Bank is now teaming up with an insurance company and a private developer to have what we call a private professional group partnership for housing, dealing with nurses, police officers, doctors, and so on. We have GBTI launch the WOW initiative. So these are the type of initiatives that once we work together, we can develop a package that will meet the requirement of the market and benefit us all. So in this program, in the exhibition, we'll have an education tent where we'll have seminars. We'll have more than 9 seminars. One dealing with quality and standard, and we're hoping that TCL, one of the corporate sponsors, will take on one to deal with quality and standard. Then we have building regulation guidelines, which is something important for us here in Guyana as we plan for the future. We must have strong regulations and guidelines in building and construction. We're seeing the architectural changes in Guyana. We have higher buildings, more glass buildings. Some of these buildings are going up without piles. I don't know the engineering requirements, but this education seminar is going to bring out all of these. Then we have companies like Global Hardware, that is the only company in South America and in the Caribbean that is manufacturing a pipe with a new technology that has an inner coating that prevents bacteriological accumulation, and the same pipe can be used for hot and cold water. We're doing that right now in Guyana. It's a technology out of India that we have adopted here, but we don't know much about it. So we're going to have a seminar on new and emerging materials, on solar energy, alternative energy, planning your building to save energy. These are important topics for the future. So the exposition is going to have a strong educational component, and this is going to run throughout the exposition. You're going to see, for example, one of the companies putting up what we call a future house. The future house is going to have modern technology that is cost effective. We have other developers like Buddies International, who is developing a private scheme. He's going to give you various layouts of homes that you can access, and the different costing of those homes. And you can have alternative costing based on material selection. This is the type of investment, technology, and education that we hope to come out of this building expo. Then the link